Alright, what's going on, guys? So today I got something a little bit different for you. Today we're going to be having a little podcast style video, and I'm joined by Sin and Sophie over at Sinclair Lore. I'm going to have their channel linked down in the description. Definitely go check them out for some more awesome content. Now let's get into it. Alright, what's going on, guys? So today I'm being joined by the Snack Covenant, and we're going to be
Hi.
talking about some Elden Ring stuff. So we'll just go ahead and get right into it. So the first topic was thoughts about the trailer.
What struck me actually was the speed of it and how acrobatic it seemed, because something that people had been saying is that they really liked the Sekiro combat and they were hoping Elden Ring worked like that. And with even before we saw the trailer, I don't think they were going to make an open world RPG with Sekiro combat, because that sort of it would mean that the appeal of having all these different builds and all these different ways of approaching situations wouldn't really work, because Sekiro combat is hyper precise and hyper focused around a certain kind of fighting. But what we saw in that trailer was characters in very light armor who were doing a lot of jumping during combat. So it does make me think this is going to be, yes, it's going to be an iteration on Souls, but it's going to be a very fast iteration on Souls. Which again synergizes with the world being a big open space, so you will not be waddling around in Havel suits. You'll be kind of a little more athletic, and that was my main takeaway. Actually, was just that it looked like a faster, sort of more visceral way of fighting than we'd seen before.
Yeah, that's a good point. We never actually saw any really heavy armor in that trailer.
No.
We barely saw shields in the trailer.
Mhm.
They have them, but yeah, everyone is pretty lightly equipped.
Yeah, everyone's like,
Yeah, we saw the little parry shield, and then
Because you can
yeah,
see
no great shields.
you can see from Demon Souls onward, they have been making them incrementally faster and making it less about armor. And I don't think it'll be as much as Bloodborne was, where they just basically said armor doesn't count. But yeah, I'm glad they worked the jumping from Sekiro in, and I'm glad they worked the stealth from Sekiro in. Because we see a couple of stealth takedowns in that. We see there was one in the leaked one that probably got someone from Bandai Europe fired. There was a very obvious, you were doing, it was, I think it was the same animation, the crouching
yeah,
from
yeah,
Sekiro followed by this takedown from behind. And then we see the same thing in the new trailer,
yes.
where they're in that sort of Anor Londo looking place and they sneak up on a guy with the giant dad head. And yeah, so there's a lot of it makes me think we're going to engage with the world in a different way.
So, do you think there will be more ways of on-foot traversal
It definitely
instead of
looks
just the
like that.
jumping or sprinting?
Well, it looks like there is a shot of a character who just sort of spontaneously grows golden wings and then flies backward. And I'm wondering if that might be some sort of ability that we get that allows us to traverse gaps. I'm wondering if it's going to get a bit kind of like post-hoc Arena of Time Zelda, where it's we're going to gate off the ways you can go, but we're going to do it by you just can't physically cross this gap, or you can't physically climb this wall. You have to go get something that lets you do it, as opposed to this is a locked door.
You know, that's interesting. That character, it really resembles an invader to me.
Mm.
And if we think back to other Souls games, did we ever really have an invader that had abilities that we didn't?
Not in the sense of being not in the sense of having that sort of ability, but because I think invaders have always been built from the same rules as the player character. I mean, Dark Souls 2 has a bunch of red phantoms that spawn that are just enemies, but not. I mean, Dark Souls 2 has a lot of red phantoms who have gear that you don't have, and it's a 1% drop and you have to farm them for hours, but that's sort of the closest I can think of.
That would be a really cool ability. I hope
Well,
we get that one.
yeah, because like if you look at it, the wings are gold, and they make this big deal about like, hey, the Elden Ring is this golden thing, this golden power has been shattered. Like we're someone who doesn't, we've lost the gold, and we're coming back to get this golden aura back. So like the Elden Ring, the Great Rune, whatever they're calling it, like the thing that we get, if that is what gives you the wings, that would make sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. So, one of the things that I found interesting as well is specifically in that castle that seemed to be like the magic place with the Burger King looking guy.
Mm.
We see that kind of aurora floating around
Yeah.
it, but in the shot like above, that's gone. So maybe that's like a skybox thing, but it looked very exclusive to that area.
Yeah, because it they talked about there being a day-night cycle. So I'm wondering if like it has that aurora thing at night only. The other thing, like Sin and I talked about this, but like that place, it almost seems like it's in the shadow of the Erd Tree. So all the other places you see the Erd Tree, this golden light is like radiating downward in these like very nice like beams of light. It's like a painting that are reaching all these places. And then when we look at that one, we don't see that. And I don't know if that's a time of day thing or like the point of that area is going to be that like it's somewhere that the Erd Tree's light is no longer reaching, and that's why it's full of like these weird zombie looking people.
It's like the blue is like anti-gold energy.
Yeah, because like that, I've been looking at that place a lot lately, and everyone there is wearing masks. Like whether it's like a prison mask or like a hood or the Burger King had, like everyone there is covering themselves up, and I'm wondering if like this like they're all rotting or something, and they're doing this to because it's like they're like, and the way that like it appears to be sinking into the ground. It's almost like it looks like this was sort of one of the worst hit places. Like the gold has completely left it, and it is just this like it's like New Londo or something.
It's
Mm.
interesting that you mentioned the mask
Mm.
because it's not just that area. The only character that we actually see their face that's not like distorted is the maiden that
Mm.
we see at the beginning.
Yeah.
But we
Mm.
only see her chin.
Yeah.
Every other human character in the trailer is wearing a mask.
Mm.
Well, most of them. I think the arm guy isn't wearing one.
Is he human?
Oh, good point.
Yeah,
Well,
but
no, we don't know
he's
though.
already really distorted
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, but the thing about the masks in that place is like they're masks because it's not like that's a practical helmet that you would wear as a suit of armor. It's just like they've got
Yeah.
hoods on their faces. They're like covering themselves. So it seems more like they're trying not to be seen rather than like this is a helmet to stop people cutting my head off. Because the one that like people were sort of curious about was the guy with the flail. It's one of the screenshots. It's the guy with the flail, and he has the like the prison mask on. You said, "Oh look, it's Griffith."
Oh yeah, Griffith, right?
That's what
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
too. I thought it
yeah,
was Griffith's helmet
yeah.
at
But
first.
like that's kind of important though because like it's a mask. It's designed to cover your face. It's he's not wearing armor. Like
Right.
he's wearing like just an open shirt, and like it would not offer him any protection. So the reason you would wear that is like it would be to hide it. It would be to hide who you were to dehumanize you. It wouldn't be because it's practical. And like the little sort of like hunchback dudes outside, like
Emil.
they have the mask on, and yeah, the Emil looking guy
Yeah.
has the little mask on, and I actually suspect like the Burger King head is. This is what I think, and I don't know if this is right or not. I guess we'll find out. But like,
Hmm.
I think the snake guy from the leaked concept art is the lord of that area,
Hmm.
and that Burger King head is supposed to be his face. It's like a symbolic
Oh,
representation of him.
It would definitely match the color palette
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
interesting.
And I think that the sort of the catafalque thing that's being dragged by the ogres, um, that has people next to it, and like they don't have masks on, and they're real deal. Like they look undead. They
Yeah.
look like Dark Souls hollows, and they're like staggering.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly sure that like that is going from the the No Londo looking place, like they're actually like leaving it. And I don't know whether if they're just fleeing or they're like invading somewhere or
Going for a walk.
well, like
I think this was.
yeah.
You go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, I was gonna say like when Miyazaki was talking about working with Martin, he said that like yeah, everyone knows Martin for Song of Ice and Fire, but Miyazaki liked his other work, and he specified a Martin book called Fever Dream. Fever Dream probably isn't that influential in Elden Ring because it's set on a paddle steamer, but it's about vampires. And one of the things we know about like vampire lore is that if you're a vampire, you can't travel during the day. You need to be in your coffin and you need to be taken from place to place
Mm-hmm.
in some sort of cart. And that thing that is being pulled, the reason I'm calling it a catafalque is it absolutely looks like that is a giant coffin.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah, the
think
top is 100% a
yeah,
coffin.
so I think the lord of that area is that's how he's getting around. Because he's like undead
So
and can't stand the sun or something.
something that Vadi Vidya mentioned was his theory is that they're transporting the arms that we
Yeah.
see in the multi-armed guy's castle, because what would kind of back that up for me is in the fight with the dragons and what you said in the last one about them being at war with the dragons is we see a lot of those carts destroyed around that big dragon.
Right.
And so it kind of backs that up a little
Yeah.
bit.
Interesting.
For me, we know the six legacies are going to be more what we're akin to, what we're used to. And while that's interesting to me, I'm more interested on how the open world is going to feel in the Souls format. Like a lot of people had the concern that the enemies in the open world are going to be too easy because if a fight gets hard, we can just run away
Mm.
or go hide. So I'm really interested to see how that plays out with the traditional difficulty that we're used to.
Well, if you look at like the screenshots that we've seen, it's like it's quote unquote an open world, but there's an awful lot of canyons.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like ravines and things, and it looks well, like a lot of plateaus and stuff. So like it's an open world, but it looks like it's pretty segmented. And if you think about like Dark Souls 3, it did have like places like Farron Swamp. That's just like pretty Farron Wood. Is it Wood or Swamp? It had places like Farron Wood that are like really open and it's kind of worked in there. So I think it's like going to be similar to that. They also
So you're
mentioned
saying
like
like natural ways of corralling the player.
well, I think there's pretty like if you look at the screenshots, like there's very few actual like unbroken like really massive open areas. Like it's not Skyrim. So if you look at it like there's so many canyons and cliffs and ravines and things that I think it's going to be pretty segmented. Like it's sort of moving from segment to segment. In the same way of like I'm trying to think of something maybe like Darkroot in Dark Souls. Well, like Darkroot's a big open place, but also it's like you have very tiny little ways of getting into and out of it. Like yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of trees.
yeah, but like I feel like the world design is just going to be similar to Dark Souls but bigger. The way like all the like Dark Souls, like all those areas are kind of connected to everywhere else. So I'm guessing it's just like two hardware generations on. Like let's make this bigger. Because like we hear like open world, open world, open world, and we think Elder Scrolls, but from those screenshots, like you can see the whole thing, and like it's not that sized. Like it looks like we talked about Zelda. Like it looks like it's the size of a Zelda game. The size of like a not necessarily like the size, but like the construction of it. Where it's like
Yeah, I can definitely
here's
see
a
that.
bunch of like fields and mountains and things that all fit into one cohesive physical space, but you have to go through specific paths to actually get there. So it's not like it's not like Fallout or something where you can just like make a beeline for somewhere.
And in those the big open space that I think of was in front of the volcano, but we can see clearly that they stuffed a whole like miniature army in there.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And like you can also see, like leading up to the volcano, there's like a specific path. There's like a path through the mountains. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's one
Okay.
thing I really kind of looking forward to. I really want to see if there's some sort of a twist or something unexpected that happens like halfway through the game. Turns everything on its head.
we do see that giant red
Mm.
sky that we have no context for.
The red sky.
Maybe that could be
Yeah, the
some.
red sky is interesting because the guy in the trailer is like revenge. But then, like, if you look at like the Sin made this joke when the wolf guy showed up. She's like, "It's the new moonlight sword." But no, no, no. I'm serious. If that is the moonlight
Yeah.
sword, it's red. And the dragon summons a lightning bolt from the sky, and that's red.
Yeah.
So is the moonlight sword red because it's reflecting the red sky
Interesting.
instead of the moonlight? Hmm.
We also see that that dragon has that same white hair that
True.
the creature
Yeah.
wielding that has.
Well, also like the white-haired wolf thing. It looks like aesthetically very close to the character that we see through a lot of the trailer. The armor design, like that, the helmet that has the white sort of
Yeah.
plume coming out the back. It looks very aesthetically similar to that because one thing that interests me specifically about the backstory is they say like we're someone from this land and we lost our golden blessing, so we got exiled, but now we're coming back again. So if we're from the land, that implies we already had a connection to one of these places. And I'm wondering if like that armor set is what people in the wolf place wore before they were exiled. Because I'm wondering if like is that how they're going to do classes? Instead of choosing like a warrior or like a cleric or something, you'll actually pick one of the places that you came from, and that will affect your stats.
That would
Yeah,
be really interesting.
because they make a big deal about lineages. So I'm also wondering if when we create the character, if we come from a certain place, like we have a locked feature from that place. Like we have like the silver hair or the red hair or like something weird with our eyes that sort of marks us apart.
We did get that leak a long time ago. It was the same guy that leaked the
Mm.
concept art, and he said there was going to be like a war between the white hairs and the
Yeah.
red hairs. So I found it kind of strange that the player character had that white
Well,
hair.
yeah, but we also don't know
But
if that's the character or just the helmet. Because yeah,
yes,
because like Bloodborne
so
Yeah.
had the
maybe
The
ponytail
kind
helmet
first
you
one?
could equip. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, that almost looked exactly the
Mm.
same as this one. So I'm kind of wondering if we can choose sides on the war, or like side with a certain demigod or side with a certain tribe, since they do say
Yeah.
the Tarnished is a
Mm.
tribe, so maybe that implies there's other
It
tribes?
would be cool to have some sort of a
I don't
choice
know.
in the game, more so than like a couple of endings
Yeah.
type deal.
To me, what comes to mind is, we still have not figured out what this thing is, that giant glowing tower we see in the scene in front of the volcano. Do you
Yeah.
guys know what I'm
The
talking
ghost
about?
one?
Oh, the banner pole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think that is a UI thing. I think that is saying like put banner here. I think that's an online
It
thing
definitely
because
looks
it looks like
extremely out
it's a
of place.
phantom. I think it's not really supposed to be there though. I think it's like a phantom thing. It's like telling the player like you can erect a banner because they talked about making like clans almost.
The groups.
It, yeah, the groups like expanding on like the password matching they've done before. That like you'll be able to make a group and everyone will be able to co-op with each other. So I think that like putting up banners might be part of online, and that ghost banner thing might just be saying, hey, you can put a banner here. If you like, maybe if you clear out that camp, you just get a prompt to like raise the banner and it goes up,
Hmm.
and you've like captured. Did you ever play the most recent Armored Cores?
No, I've never played those.
Okay, because that was From's thing before Souls took over their lives, and the most recent ones they did that with their online system. They had it territory based, where like when you created a character in Armored Core, you picked a faction, and then as you completed missions and like won like online stuff, it would update for your faction, and you could actually watch in real time the different factions sort of like squabble over the map.
When you say that, I think of
So I'm one.
Elder Scrolls Online and like the big team battle
Right.
they had there.
Yeah. Yeah, so it could be something like that.
That
Definitely.
sounds like a lot of fun. I hope they do that.
Hmm. Yeah.
I would definitely like to see an update to the PvP system.
Mm.
Well, any other questions?
I think I'm good.
Um. Yeah,
Sophie?
it's about half an hour. I think like if you wanted half an
Mm-hmm.
hour, we've got half an hour of talking.
Yep, I think I'm
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
Woo! Same.